How would you describe the situation at the front lines at present?
Перш ніж почати розповідати про
Before I
війну,
start talking about the war and the
хотів
situation at the front,
розпочати зі
I
слів
would like to begin
вдячності
with words of gratitude to the American people for the support we so urgently need.
народу за
I want
підтримку,
these words to ring
яка нам
sincere
так потрібна.
and to reach every
Щоб
American,
ці слова
every worker,
пролунали
every service
всюди,
member,
донесені
every
до
representative of that great nation who understands what it means to fight for freedom and for independence. Of course, I would also like to personally thank President Donald Trump for his leadership and for his tireless work to help our country finally achieve a just peace. His role as a peacemaker in this process is extremely important because he is one of the most powerful levers of influence on Vladimir Putin and his criminal gang. To better understand the situation on the front line, you need to start with the big picture. Since the full-scale invasion in 2022, Russia, having suffered enormous losses, has failed to accomplish any of the strategic objectives that Putin announced before the so-called operation, objectives they plan to achieve in 3 days. Losing almost 1,000 soldiers a day, they continue to pursue the tasks of this militarily senseless operation because the lands they managed to seize are devastated, uninhabitable wastelands covered with the bodies of Russian soldiers. If we speak about the number of casualties since the start of the full-scale aggression, it is already almost 1.2 million killed and wounded. The number of killed, by our estimates, could reach 500,000 by the beginning of next year if things continue as they are now. The Russians' objectives this year were also rather ambitious. At the beginning of the year, they planned to conduct an offensive operation in the Sumy direction, but from a military point of view, it turned out to be a failure. Having captured only a few kilometers of territory and a few villages, which were later partially liberated, they again suffered huge losses. As a result, Putin is now trying at all costs to capture Pokrovsk. Speaking more broadly about the adjacent directions where active combat is unfolding, these are the Pokrovsk and neighboring directions, with more than 100,000 Russian soldiers trying to seize the city. Of course, under such conditions, the situation is extremely tense, but it does not correspond to the narratives the Russians spread as part of their propaganda and psychological operations. At the end of October, the Russian Federation, including Putin, declared that Pokrovsk was encircled, that everything had been captured, and that the city would fall in a few days. That was a lie. The situation is difficult, but far from what they portray. We continue to fight and inflict losses on them. We will defend our land, our rights, and our freedom.
свої права, свою свободу.
Is the city of Pokrovsk going to fall? Do you believe that would happen in the near future?
Я би не став ставити настільки категоричні висновки, тому
I would not make any definitive predictions. War is a sphere with many unknowns and unpredictable factors. Yes, there are enemy forces in Pokrovsk. By our estimates, around 300 to 400 Russian fighters are scattered across different parts of the city, but operating without a unified command structure or coordinated fire support. These are fragmented groups. We are conducting counterattacks and destroying the enemy every day as they try to entrench. At the same time, the forces assaulting the city outnumber ours by roughly 10 to 1, and both sides conduct covert actions that, due to my position, I cannot discuss in detail.
дуже коректно розповідати про це зараз.
At what point would it be necessary for Ukraine's military to order a tactical withdrawal from Pokrovsk?
Я свого часу керував обороною Бахмуту.
I once commanded the defense of Bakhmut, so I know how that unfolded and how important that defense was. You can view these things in different ways, but we understand one thing. The enemy does not intend to stop. Whatever line we fall back to, and however far we retreat, we are giving up our land. And on that new line, the same question will arise. It will have to be defended. In the case of Pokrovsk, we are dealing with a well-prepared defensive area with numerous fortified positions. It is a populated area, an urban environment that favors our defenders. In such conditions, enemy losses will predictably be higher than they would be outside the city. If we withdraw, we will still have to defend elsewhere, but under worse conditions. Therefore, a decision to retreat will only be made when continued defense becomes futile due to the threat of total destruction or the capture of our personnel. More broadly speaking, the signal to withdraw is always the real threat of losing units. When a commander understands that his soldiers can no longer accomplish missions and will either be destroyed or taken prisoner, then the decision to withdraw is justified. But as long as it is possible to defend, inflict losses on the enemy, and hold positions, that must be done.
Не потрібно з огляду на втрати або з огляду на те, що люди можуть потрапити в полон противнику.
Are Russian forces pushing harder than before? And do you believe this is tied to stalled peace talks? Do you believe that Vladimir Putin is trying to show or project strength to Donald Trump at this point in time on the battlefield?
Вони дуже послідовні в тому, що кожен раз вони
In many ways, their
намагаються
actions are consistent. Before any major event or potential negotiations, Putin always escalates pressure on the front lines and strikes civilian infrastructure, schools, and towns. This is his way of projecting success where none exists, in an attempt to create the illusion of strength and aim to influence international opinion. Their strategy remains the same. Before every significant occasion come the same crimes, bombardments, escalations, and displays of fabricated achievements.
незмінно. Це постійно так відбувається.
If you could get anything from the United States to help Ukraine's military at this point in time, what would it be?
Перший пріоритет і найважливіший – це
A top priority is to maintain the conditions that allow our country to keep functioning, to ensure factories, hospitals, and schools can operate so people can live and work. To do that, it is crucial to receive air defense missile systems and ammunition, especially Patriot systems and missiles capable of intercepting Russian ballistic weapons. We need ammunition of all calibers, especially long-range, along with cluster munitions, as well as short-range air defense systems and missiles for F-16. In short, we need everything necessary to protect our skies from ongoing enemy aerial strikes.
з повітря противника.
Do you believe that Ukraine can still win this war? And I ask that because some people are asking, why doesn't Ukraine accept terms to make peace? Why not end this today and accept Russia's conditions? Why are you unable to do so?
Ми могли би просто зупинитися, якби ми
We could stop hostilities if we were the aggressors, but the aggressor in this war is the Russian Federation. Whether the war will end depends on Vladimir Putin's decisions. He must be pressured to stop the fighting. President Zelensky has repeatedly voiced the position that reflects the will of our people. We are ready for peace, but we did not start this conflict. Putin attacked us, he directs his troops, he continues to kill our people and seize our land, and he does not wish to stop. Therefore, the main question is how to force Putin to negotiate. That requires applying pressure and degrading Russia's capacity to wage aggression. We see the Russian Federation building up its military potential, forming new divisions and military districts, allocating enormous funds for rearmament, and pursuing multi-year plans with massive budgets. They even teach children in schools to operate drones. Their ambitions appear to extend beyond Ukraine, and that must be taken seriously. We must not allow this war to end in a victory for Putin, because the consequences would reach far beyond our country. Regardless of the situation, we will fight for our freedom. We will destroy the enemy in the sky, on land, and at sea. And we are doing everything possible to weaken the aggressor and increase our own defensive capabilities. We are changing the situation on the front, improving tactical positions, striking enemy infrastructure, and accelerating weapons development. We have scaled up unmanned systems programs, such as our drones, striking roughly 77,000 enemy targets in the past month alone. And we are also advancing missile programs, using systems like Neptune and Firepoint, and will continue to hit key enemy facilities, inflicting significant losses on Russia daily. Ukraine will not give up its freedom, and this is my sincere conviction.
Це моє найщиріше переконання. Дякую.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.